Happy Friday to you, everyone. Hope you're having a great day, and I hope you're wrapping up your week and you've had a really successful week building that relationship with your dog and getting that training done. You know, when I was driving up here to the mountains, I read a sign on a billboard that said, social distancing is in our DNA. And when you look at that scenery behind me, those mountaintops back there, the wildlife, there's a certain allure that it has. It calls to us. It speaks to us. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much of a city person you say you are. Something about nature is where we connect. It's what's part of our DNA, truly is. And unfortunately, that's the problem for most people, is because they see that back there behind me, right there on that little mountaintop, and they think, I want to go do that. I want to get outdoors. I want to get away from the rat race. I just want to get outdoors, go for a hike. I want to just have a time in which I can just be away from everyone. Just be away from all of it. Just get away from it. Gosh, I feel that. I've said before on these videos, these mountains are like a thunder shirt for me. They just wrap me up and they make me feel like I'm at home. So I understand. We all want to do it. We all want to get outdoors. Well, here's the problem. There's 3 reasons why people end up in a survival situation. And today I'm wrapping up my little mini-series on using survival rules and survival lessons and applying them to dog ownership and dog training. And I've got a lot of positive feedback on it, so I hope you've enjoyed this little series. I certainly have. It's taken me back many years to both my childhood, my times in the outdoors as a young adult, and also my time in the military. I've often wondered, you know, I would like to, what it would be like to teach a survival school. And hey, you're never too late to get started or something. I may do that. Sometime I'll incorporate dogs into it. But anyway, back to what I was talking about. What are the 3 reasons why people end up in survival situations? Well, number 1, by far, this is by far, so you pay attention to this, because this is really important. They forget to tell people, they don't tell anyone where they're going. No, they think it's just an innocent little day hike. I'm just going to go to the national park. I'm going to go over here and go check out these waterfalls. It's only a 3.2 mile hike out and back, and it's just a day hike. They don't tell anyone. They just wrap up their stuff, throw it in a little backpack real quick, a little sandwich, a little bottle of water, grab the dog, and they're off and going. And no one knows where they are. So all of a sudden, while they're out on this little 3.2 mile out and back, they see a trail, and then they're like me. They just can't ignore it. And down the trail they go. Perfectly innocent. Moving along, checking us out, checking out berries, looking at different scenery, maybe spotting some wildlife. And then the next thing you know, they turn around and the trail's just not quite so visible any longer. There's no trailheads. Nothing to indicate that you're on a trail at all. And all of a sudden, you're whipping out your iPhone and you're trying to find some sort of location beacon, but there's no signal. You're out there. And what just turned from a day hike into now all of a sudden could be a 2 or 3 day event. Overnight, temperatures plummeting. And you are completely, Captain, get away from my tripod. I'm going to kill you, little man. All right. He's just out there blowing around and hanging around me. Probably thinks I'm going to give him a treat. But you get where I'm going with this. You're suddenly lost. You are out in the wilderness, out here on some mountain range. Temperature's going to plummet into the low 20s overnight. You have nothing to build a fire. You are not ready for this moment. And the problem is, no one knows you're missing, because you didn't tell them you're going anywhere. You didn't tell them you're going out into the wild. So they don't even know you're missing. And about the time they figure out, you know what, I think Bryan's missing. They don't know where to look for you. You didn't bother to tell them that either. Guys, you have to do this as simple as it seems, or as unnecessary as it seems. Just take that extra precaution. Tell someone, I'm going on this hike today on this trail. This is where it's located, and if I'm not back by a certain time, please come check on me. Make sure you do that. A lot of people don't, because they're the other person on the other end getting that message is going, really? What kind of hike is it? Are you going to be in any sort of danger? And, you know, they just pester you with all these questions, and therefore you don't feel like telling them that you're going on that hike. You just go do your own thing. What seems so innocent has gotten so many people into trouble. So many thousands of people have died from that innocent little day hike. I remember growing up in Alaska, boundaries were different back then. My parents were very, very, gave me a lot of freedom. They did. They trusted my mentor that he had trained me very well, and they would allow me to go on 2 or 3 day excursions by myself as a young boy. And a lot of people sit there, that's like parent abuse or whatever. No, it's just a different generation. And I was extremely well equipped. But even so, back then, we did not have cell phones or satellite phones or search and rescue devices. All you had was a map. And I'd have to draw it on this map every waypoint, every stop, every place I intended to be. And if I was not at a certain place by a certain time within a few hours, that was it. The cavalry came looking for me. And if that ever occurred, thank God it never did, because that was going to be it for me. No more outings by myself. So you can imagine how prepared I was. But you got to just do that. And I do it to this day. You can even ask Kira. We even go on a day hike, and she's going, why are you carrying all that stuff? I'm always carrying all that stuff. I'm carrying something to make a fire with. I'm carrying a solar blanket. I'm carrying extra water, iodine tablets. I'm carrying everything that I need, a compass, a real compass, not an iPhone compass. I'm going to make sure we can get out of there. So guys, that's the number one reason. Now, how does that relate to dogs? Same thing. So many of us get a dog, and we don't bother to tell anyone the problems that we're having with our dog. We don't. Same reason why you don't want to tell anyone, hey, I'm going on a day hike. And if I don't come back by a certain time, send the cavalry looking for me, because you're now all of a sudden get confronted with all these worrying questions. Same thing with dog owners. They don't want to admit, many of them, that they are having a problem with their dog. They're having a problem with just owning it, caring for it, and not to even mention training, because a lot of times, here's what they get back. Told you, shouldn't have gotten that dog. Yep, did I tell you? I was right. Yep, shouldn't have gotten the darn dog. You don't have time for the dog. You don't have money for the dog. You should have never gotten that dog. Or they're worried about being ridiculed because there's so much information about caring for your dog and training your dog. And the issue is they all conflict one another. You don't know what to believe anymore. I read this on Google, and I find that on Chrome, and I get this from YouTube, and I get that from Instagram, and I get this from Facebook Live with some guy in the woods talking to me. You don't know who to believe anymore. I get it. So everyone just kind of clams up and says, I'm just going to power through it. And good on you for trying to power through it, but every now and then you got to reach out for a little help there. You got to let someone know where you are. And that's part of it. Hey, here's where I'm at in this dog ownership. This dog is just really, really upsetting me. Really causing a lot of discord in my home, a lot of grief. And if I don't solve this, I think I'm going to have to get rid of it. Please reach out first. Let someone know where you're going with your dog. Let them know when to expect you back, and just any sort of problems that you're having. No one knows to help you. Kind of like no one knows to come looking for you if they don't know you're missing. Same thing with dog ownership. The other reason why people get into trouble in survival situations is they're not well equipped. They're just not properly equipped because they're thinking short term. They're not thinking long term. And again, like I said, you just pack up that backpack real quick, throw a sandwich in there, some granola bars or whatever, and a bottle of water, and off you go. And next thing you know, that bottle of water, that granola bar has got to sustain you now for anywhere from 3 days to a week sometimes. If you don't believe me, just go read the news. You'll read about it all the time. Girl found after 7 days. Man found after 14 days. And when you read about these, every single one of them, it was not their intent to be out there for a week or 14 days. It's their intent to be out there for about 3 hours. That's how they ended up with it. They're just not properly equipped. So the same thing happens with dog owners. They're not properly equipped for dog ownership. They're not properly equipped for dog training. Their house is too small. The yard is too small. They don't have enough time. They didn't factor in the amount of time it takes to properly own a dog. They don't think about that. They get allured like here. You look back here and you see these beautiful mountains and you're drawn in. You see those big puppy eyes and you're drawn in. You see that dog in the shelter going, and all of a sudden there's big signs out there, the old fear of missing out type situation. And if you don't rescue this dog, we're going to have to euthanize it. And so you just want to bring it into your household and you make this irrational decision. You don't think about it. You don't get yourself equipped. You're thinking with your heart. You're not with your brain. And so the next thing you know, you don't have enough time and you don't have enough money. You didn't realize that dogs actually cost a lot. The average dog owner spends over $7,000 per year on their dog. You need to think about that in your budget. Dog food is not cheap. Veterinary care is no longer cheap. Nor is training, nor is boarding, nor is daycare, nor is pet sitting, pet walking. It's all expensive. It's a $79 billion a year industry that has never suffered from an economic downturn, not even a pandemic. And the prices for services just keep going up as everyone wants a piece of the pie. So factor that in. Think about it. Also, in training, they end up adopting a methodology that will not help them reach their goals. They will not. Make sure you research the methodology before you start embarking upon training. If you want your dog to reliably obey you every single time under every condition you can think of, you must put in place a cost-benefit situation. There has to be, because you will never be the attraction all the time. The treat will never be the attraction all the time. If you want what I have with Captain, who's right down here, totally naked, running around these woods, I'm not worried about it, then you got to put in the work and you have to adopt the correct methodology. So make sure you set those clear objectives like I told you in yesterday's video. And when you do, make sure that the way that you teach this will get you there. Nothing worse than a compass who always points north regardless of what direction you're turning. Might just throw it away. Now thing just became a rock. Think about it, guys. Think about what you got to do there. So make sure you're equipped good. And also, don't use equipment that is capable of helping you get your goals, but you don't use it to its full potential. Case in point, I just throw out their remote training collars. So many times I meet people, they've already bought them, they're already used them, but then I say, well, tell me about it. Is it working for you? Well, we, kind of like in a very shameful way, we only use it on the vibration or the tone. Does it work? No. Did you know there's other settings on it? Yeah, but we don't want to. Then why are you here? Why are you here to see me? Because I'm going to use those other settings. If you're telling me you want your dog to come when called, and that's going to improve your quality of life and mitigate any sort of danger to you or your dog, I'm using those other settings. I'm going to help you get there. I'm going to use this equipment to its full potential so that you can arrive at your goal. Get to your goal. Because once you get there, you get it. You get the whole thing. Get your cake and eat it too. Okay, and the last reason why a lot of people get into survival situations is because that's exactly what they're thinking about. Oh, in case I have to survive, in case I get into a survival situation. Well, what they're thinking about is, in case that happens, what do I have to do to get rescued? Me? I'm not thinking survival. I'm thinking self-reliant. Self-reliant versus survival. I'm thinking, survival is like life and death. It relies on being rescued. That's that kind of mentality. Whereas self-reliant, when you are self-reliant, the environment's the same, but you possess the knowledge of how to face those challenges and face that environment. Nothing changes. You still get caught in the same situation, but you're different because you got a different mindset. You have already done all the things I've told you over this last week. You are ready for that situation. Self-reliant. I'm not counting on anyone to get me out of here if I get lost, but me. I'm not. And because of that, I've gained that knowledge. I had the right equipment in this pack. I am ready to take it on. I will get Bryan out of here. And that's the mindset you have to have. And that's the mindset you also have to have when owning and training your dog. So many times we rely on everyone else to tell us what to do. That's just what we do with dogs. Well, tell me, how am I supposed to train my dog? And what should I do about this? And what should I do if he chews up my sofa? And what should I do if he insists on just pulling me down the street? It's okay to ask for help. Okay to pull in resources that are available to you. But at some point, you've got to apply enough of that, work enough of that, where you become self-reliant. I can count on me to get my dog from point A to point B. I can count on me to make sure that this relationship lasts, that this is a forever home for my dog. I'm counting on me. I don't care what anyone else says. I don't care what they tell me to do. At some point, the line's drawn right there. It's about me. I am a self-reliant dog owner. I know what to pack up when I go on a trip. If I go for a hike with my dog, I know what to take for my dog's sake. I know how to train my dog. I know where to go find information. I have logic. I have common sense. And I have this thing called the pit of my stomach that tells me when you're on a fool's errand. And pay attention to that. Become more self-reliant as a dog trainer. Anticipate problems. Never get caught off guard. Be ready for anything. Just like you're going out here in the wild to survive. Be ready. It's those people who just sit there and think they're going to live in some fairy tale world. They're never going to have a problem with their dog. Never going to be a behavioral issue. Never going to be some sort of veterinary care issue. Those are people who don't squirrel away any money for their dog's veterinary care in case that emergency ever happens. They're not buying that pet insurance. They're the people who think everything's going to be fine till the day their dog busts through their door and bites the delivery person. And now all of a sudden they're ending up in court. They're the people who watch their dog get hit by a car. Don't be that person. Do your work. Put the work into it. Gain the knowledge that you need. Explore equipment. Use it to its full potential. Get to point B. Because point B, hung cattle dog. Everybody. Oh. It's a great place for you and your dog. It allows you to enjoy your relationship together, which then makes that backdrop back there so much sweeter, so much more beautiful in your DNA. And I think owning the dog's in our DNA as well. It's deeply rooted in there. So do your stuff, guys. Those were the 3 reasons, okay? Tell someone where you're going. Make sure you have the right equipment and the knowledge, and make sure you use your equipment properly and be self-reliant. And you guys will quit giving up your dogs, rehoming them, and worse yet, send them someplace where someone's going to kill them. Enjoy this out here. This is where dogs belong. This is where you belong. Try and get out there at it. That wraps up my survival series. Tomorrow we're going to move into clicker training. Clicker training. I know a thing or two about that. I trained marine mammals for many years in the United States Navy. We used a little bit of a whistle, not a clicker, but the principle and the theory behind it are still the same. I'll be sharing all that with you over the next couple of days doing clicker training. So make sure you tune in for that. All right, guys, I got a lot of stuff to get done today, so I'm out of here. You know what to do. Don't just survive, thrive, be self-reliant.